All right, we had another question on the S&P 500. If I could chart that, so here we go. Remember, I drew this, several weeks ago, saying that we weren't getting ready to go down, and I think not only that, but I think we'll probably have a little bit higher highs, and then maybe correct back to the 200 week. Maybe even 8, 12 months from now, and then continue our cycle, right? Or these are not definitive, so the top could be here, and then we kind of move this down a little bit like this, something loosely fit to this narrative is kind of my thoughts going forward. I don't doubt that we could have some kind of epic crash, but I don't think it's for the next 2 years. So all the people calling for it, right? They'll still be calling for it 2 years from now. Trust me. I don't doubt that something crazy could happen. Maybe once, who knows what the narrative would be, but the US dollar dies, we go to central bank digital currencies, something like that. Another black swan event, right? It's always on the cards at some point. We'll probably have one, but to get a crash worse than this, that, half of society is calling for, I don't doubt that that's coming, but I don't think that that's coming anytime within the next 2 years. So I think maybe it happens, after the next peak. So I think we'll see 5,000 plus in the S&P 500 over the next 2 years. I think they're both going into bull cycles. Like, how are you arguing that the S&P is going to falter when you have the DXY looking very, very dead here? And not only that, but just, what we talked about yesterday, the weekly Gaussian channel has flipped red. Most times that lasts, it's 400 plus days on average. That puts that way out into 2024 here, right? For bear market US dollar. And if that's going into a bear market based on the charts, S&P 500 is certainly not going to do that, right? So we've already been red on the weekly Gaussian channel for quite some time. And I would argue, in fact, that we're getting ready to turn this back green in the next maybe several weeks to several months. Probably going to take some time, still trying to iron itself out here. But as long as prices are staying above, the 4,000 level, this is going to continue to flatten out. So yeah, I don't doubt that we could come back to 4,000 or even back into the upper 3,000s sometime between now and next year. Next 6, 8 months, sure. But do I think we're going to see new lows? No, I don't. Right. On the flip side of that, I think a lot of people probably calling for much lower lows than this, and very much sooner than this. But just based on the charts, I don't see it yet, right? So until we're closing back below the 21 week, how about that, right? You could stair step this, right? So if the doom and gloom is coming, not only is it not in sight, but we'll have many warning signs. Closing below the weekly 8, closing below the weekly 21, closing below the weekly 100, closing below the weekly 200, right? Those are all stair steps to the abyss, and the abyss is shouldn't even be mentioned here. Look at the moving averages on the week. Let me just remove all this. I mean, your moving averages on the weekly are moving up, not sideways. I mean, I would argue that the bearish trend is over, right? I mean, we've taken out. Just look at the charts. I mean, anybody reading charts here is like, there's your lower high, there's your first higher high. You took this out too. I mean, you've taken out two. You took this out, you took this out, right? You've reversed that trend. How long this trend lasts, I don't know. But this downtrend is over by definition on pure TA. And so just giving my 2 cents there on the biggest chart here. If we get a rollover and we're going to new lows, we'll have plenty of warning signs. It's not there yet. And in fact, quite the opposite. I mean, we're stair stepping way up. So I could see why maybe people are starting to panic, because panic sells, right? But doing a 16% move in the past 90 days in the stock market for an entire index is pretty strong. So and look how high we are, right? I mean, who cares if we come down to the EMA 8 and do another retest? That would be healthier. I mean, these kind of moves back down. There's the 21 week retest and go again. So what should you do if we come back down to the 21 week? That would be your retest by the dip scenario. Especially since that's kind of your local kind of tops here, right? I mean, look at this here. right? Especially if you're 21 week when we get there, and say a month, 2 months, whenever it is, if it's right around this zone, I mean, you have more confluence to say that that should hold. And if it doesn't, then you have your clear sign to get out. So you have all these signs, all bullish at this point. Notice, I don't know where the bears are getting the narrative from, but it's not from this chart.